U.S.-China policy might change after the midterm elections. Welcome to VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casqueo in Washington. That story is coming up, but first making headlines. Xi Jinping secured a precedent-breaking third term as the Chinese Communist Party chief Sunday and introduced a top governing body stacked with mostly loyalists, while a few prominent liberal technocrats were unexpectedly removed from the top echelon of leadership. Experts say this cements his place as the country's most powerful ruler since Mao Zedong. In Shanghai, an inhalable COVID-19 vaccine is being offered free as a booster to those previously vaccinated. Developers hope the needle-free vaccine will incentivize more people to get vaccinated and boosted. Senior leaders from Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. committed to a coordinated response if North Korea conducts more nuclear testing. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol said Tuesday that North Korea appears to have completed preparations for another nuclear test. South Korean Marines practiced large-scale amphibious military landing drills on the country's east coast. Organizers said the landings, part of 12 days of field exercises, were necessary defensive preparation against possible threats from North Korea. Ethnic Kachin rebels say airstrikes by Myanmar's military have killed as many as 80 people, including singers and musicians attending an anniversary celebration of the minority group's main political organization. U.S. law enforcement officials unsealed charges against two Chinese intelligence officers accused of attempting to obstruct the Justice Department's criminal prosecution of Chinese telecom giant Huawei Technologies. With polls suggesting that Republicans may retake control of the U.S. House of Representatives in the November midterm elections, the United States appears set to continue its tough on China policy. VOA Chief White House correspondent Patsy Widakuswara looks at how a GOP-led Congress might exert more pressure on the Biden administration on various issues.
President Xi Jinping did not mention the United States during the Chinese Communist Party's 20th National Congress, but his message was clear. Beijing will double down in the face of Western threats, including on Taiwan.
We are not committed to abandoning the use of force, and we reserve the option of taking all necessary measures.
The CCP Congress cemented a more assertive foreign policy under Xi, who will remain in power for a third term. This sets Beijing on a collision course with the Biden administration, which will be under pressure to be even tougher on China should Republicans win more congressional seats in the November midterm elections and Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy ends up as Speaker of the House.
For 50 years, the Chinese Communist Party has launched an assault on the American way of life, on our economy, on our jobs, on our companies, on our culture, on our institutions, on our very future.
The U.S. Congress is considering the Taiwan Policy Act, a bill aimed at boosting military capability of the self-governed island against a potential Chinese invasion. Beijing considers Taiwan a breakaway province. Various Republican lawmakers have also promised a tougher stance on everything from securing supply chains to investigating the origins of the coronavirus to make their point that President Joe Biden is soft on Beijing. But even if Democrats retain their slim majority in Congress, Biden's China policy will likely remain hawkish, keeping in place many policies of his predecessor, President Donald Trump, including steep tariffs on Chinese goods and containing Beijing's influence in the Indo-Pacific.
Under the Trump administration, the Chinese genuinely hoped that the Democrats would win. But after almost 2 years of the Biden administration, I think the Chinese have come to the realization that both are not going to change the consensus on China. And some in China would even argue that Biden's policy is even more difficult for China because how Biden aligns its position and mobilizes allies and partners to jointly counter China's growing influence.
Should Republicans retake Congress, observers say there will be more skepticism toward Biden's approach of competing strategically with China while cooperating on transnational challenges such as climate change. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News, Washington.
Visit voanews.com for the most up-to-date stories. You're watching VOA Asia Weekly. Finally, dog lovers in Nepal honored canines by putting garlands around their necks and indulging them with treats to celebrate a Hindu festival, highlighting the loyalty of dogs to humans. The tradition originates in Nepal, where street dogs are prevalent and dog welfare is struggling. Thanks for watching VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casquejo. Until next week.